Hey there YouTube, I'm Yukitsu, this is the Yukitsu Times, welcome to my channel, welcome to a bit more Rust for our Survival Sunday, and we're just playing this a little bit more because it's interesting and it's changed a little bit up just in the way people have been playing it. There's like way more shacks in the places I've been to, way more dead people all over the place. In this particular game I'm playing it in the no PvP one just because it's really hard to talk while people are trying to kill you. Although normally I do not mind the PvP ones, I'm just going to show you a little bit of an alternative way to survive and play this game for those of you who are a little bit more adventuresome and a little bit more excitement hungry, looking for an adventure of some sort. So we're going to teach you guys how to be sort of road warriors. Now the basics of this game is still the same. You still want to find a nodule of whatever resources you can get your hands on. To just start off with the basics, you need to have your bow, you need to have your well, you don't really need a hatchet for this, but you need to at least have a bow. It's good to have some pants or something, but you kind of want to be able to survive just a little bit of an encounter. You need arrows, so you need stones for that, and that's pretty much it. And you can start doing some sort of road warrioring to get different and new types of loot, and this is also how you progress your tech tree. So if you find that your 9mm pistol is just not enough for what it is you want to be doing in this game, you can sort of go along this route and take it for a spin. So we're going to go ahead and I can't remember how to actually get the crafting bar with hotkeys, so let's just go ahead and do this and make our hunting bow again as usual, and we'll just continue our search around for resources. So once you've got your bow and you've got some arrows, what you want to do is you want to look for this road here. The road sort of circumnavigates the entire island, and once you've got a weapon, it's a pretty good place to be. Normally I would not recommend staying too near the road on PvP maps, simply because you're going to get destroyed by other people, since as you can see the roads are pretty densely populated. The roads are also a good marker for these sort of biomes where resources tend to spawn, which means that, again, it's going to be a high density area. If you're going to look for places with resources, I actually find the areas of the sort of forest that are further away from the roads are generally safer and are the ones that are sort of preferable, even though if you travel far enough you'll find the road in it. It's just sort of inevitable, but as far away from the road as possible is where it's safest. But once you are equipped up a little bit and you feel a little bit safer, and especially during like cover and night or whatever, it's okay to run around on the roads, and this presents a different style of play, I find, for this game. Another way to do it if you don't want to travel at night is you can skirt alongside the road, just above it, where you can keep an eye on it and where it travels, because when you're traveling on the road you get certain options that are not normally available to you in this game, and that makes it that gives you potential to play in a completely different style as opposed to just sort of gathering resources and surviving. Although obviously you do need a little bit of that gathering resources surviving aspect just to get you started. Once you've got your bow and your arrows, you're good to go, and you can start fighting things in like horrible radiated areas, and we'll show you one of those in just a little bit. We're relatively near one. I just want to cook up some food before we go as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and steal someone's camping fire. There are so many little huts in this particular one, and they've all got these little pre-made fires, so we're going to save ourselves a little bit of time here just by going like this. Split, 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 and this will suit us well. And let's get that cooking. Start crafting ourselves some arrows. Now, as you can see, our actual ability to craft stuff is pretty different from the things that are available in this game. And basically, this game, you can sort of get new stuff by taking the recipes off zombies mostly. That's sort of the most intuitive and easy way to do this. There are, of course, other ways to do it, but I find that taking it off of zombies is the most reliable way to get them. You can also just find them in buildings, but you'll typically find them in the same sort of random off-chance irradiated areas as you're going to find zombies. So those are a good place to sort of look for that sort of technology. And I think that that's a pretty interesting way to play. It's a little bit more exciting, it's a little bit more fast-paced. So if you're into that, that sounds interesting to you, then you can definitely go ahead and give that a whirl. Let's see here. I kind of want pants. These arrows are going to take a while because we're getting quite a lot of them all at once. And the reason that we're getting all arrows is because literally we're going to be using those arrows as our primary thing. They're very effective for reasons which I can't discern against zombies. I'm not really 100% sure why that is. They basically 1 or 2 shot zombies, whereas like the 9mm pistols, they take quite a few shots from those, so they're not necessarily the best response. Now, it's good to have whatever clothes you can get if you're going to be doing this. And the reason being that clothes sort of lowers radiation just a little bit. I'll show you in a second. I'm going to go with pants, and maybe I think I've also got enough for a vest and a helmet. So we'll have everything but the boots. Actually, we don't need the helmet. We'll get the boots. But man, that many arrows takes an awfully long time. Anyway, yeah. This game, still in early alpha. People who are developing this game are actually quite surprised at the number of people playing it because they think it's in an incredibly incomplete state. They don't think that it's even in a playable state right now. I would agree somewhat, but I mean, it's still fun to sort of roam around in this place because they've got it sort of very intriguing the way they've got set up, I think. So I think that's sort of the appeal of it to a lot of people like myself. Obviously, we're interested in seeing where it goes and how it improves because as it is, it's still not perfect by any stretch of the imagination, but it's still pretty fun. Now, if you're playing this game, I do recommend that if you're feeling frustrated and you don't really want to deal with anything immediately killing you, to play it on one of these non-PvP servers, because really the people in it, a lot of them are sort of hackers anyway, so it doesn't really matter. And you're going to get killed by some sort of lag nonsense rather than getting killed by anything legitimate anyway, so I mean, it's not really the kind of challenge that I think is entertaining to go through if you're playing this game in PvP, unless of course you're the person doing the griefing, where you run around with a gun, which, you know, may as well. So as you can see, a lot of arrows here. We've got like 48 of them, which is really quite good. And we've got quite a lot of food as well, which is going to help us out quite a bit in our adventures, since you don't find a lot of food doing a Road Warrior style lifestyle. What you do tend to find is a lot of, like, well, I tend to find a lot of pants, but anyway, as you can see, we've got some resistances here, and we don't actually get, maybe we don't get, we may actually not get radiation resistance from this, but it'll help against the zombies a little bit, so it's still good for me to make these. Let's see, that'll take a little while still. And let's get this, there we go. This is a really awkward looking bow. I don't think that if you made a bow like this in real life it would work very well. It's just terrible. Okay. And let's get boots. Crafting this game still fairly slow. I wish they'd speed it up just a little bit. There are people here after all who don't really want to be crafting this all at night. Because at night there are other things you could be doing. I think night is actually the best time in this game to travel normally, just because there are ways for you to get around without being seen by other players, and other players are the big threat in this game. If you're encountering like zombies or whatever at night, it's not that deadly because you can outrun them. Just keep hitting the spacebar, keep running, and you'll be perfectly fine until you get somewhere safe. If you encounter people during the day though, and they've got a clean line of sight of you, they're probably just going to like shoot you. So night is, I think, the best place to travel. I actually craft a lot during the day, which might seem odd, but it works for me. Okay, let's take back our wood actually, and this charcoal. Perfect. Okay, so now we've got our bow, our arrows, and a little bit of protection. So let's get huge leg spikes and continue following this road up this way a little bit. And the road basically is where you're going to find sort of pre-made structures, I guess I'll call them. They're the ones that are generated not by players, but they're generated in the world and constantly generate new resources. And these buildings usually have high radiation values. They're usually full of zombies, but they also contain little chests that you can find on wooden sort of platforms, and if you pick them up, they can sometimes have things like guns in them or ammunition or other things that you would otherwise not be able to build yourself. So they're an excellent way to get resources, and that you would exotic, interesting resources that you can't normally get in the normal playstyle. So here you can see like my radiation's ticking upwards. I can hear my Geiger counter going, but there's this little bunker over here. So let's go explore around this bunker a little bit, and there's this little thing here. just some metal fragments and some large wood storage, so nothing really that great, but we'll take it anyway. I mean, there's no reason not to. There's another one across the street here, so we're going to go over to that one. And our radiation can get up to 500 before we start taking damage, so you can actually take quite a lot of radiation before you're in a big problem. F1 grenade blueprint. That's interesting. Yeah, learning how to make grenades. Not necessarily the best thing, since I'm probably more likely to blow myself up with them. But as you can see, this is how you learn how to make new things. I'll just get out of the radiation there for a second there. Good. Okay, so we're going to take this, we're going to equip it. Number 5, use that. We now know how to make grenades, so we're going to go to crafting, and we're going to go all the way down to, I think it's weapons, yes it is. So we need gunpowder and metal fragments to make our hand grenades, but we now know how to make them. So that is something that we can now do if we want to. We're not going to stop for that necessarily though, because that is a lot of resources. It's more than I'm really willing to spend on a single hand grenade. I mean, that's kind of silly. But yeah, that's the sort of thing that you can find if you're traveling the roads. And these respawn on a periodic basis, so if you find one of these buildings, there's a pretty good odd that you're going to find like a box or something in there, or something that you can plunder and take with you. And if you find some zombies in there and you've got a bow like this, you can shoot them, take their stuff, and they usually also have nice things that you would otherwise not be able to get. Blueprints are quite common on zombies. Anti-radiation equipment is also quite common on zombies and in those irradiated buildings. So this is a great way to get items that are unattainable otherwise, uncraftable. And it means that you can slowly build them up without having to look for airdrops, which if you hear those airplanes whizzing by, you'll occasionally hear those. Those are airdrops. They're things that, yeah, I hear one right now, right on cue. So these things, they drop huge care packages that have tons of gear that just really are, like, it's a horrible mess, basically. You're going to end up with tons of players swarming it, trying to get stuff in it, and murdering each other and fighting over it. And they won't in this one. It's just whoever touches it first gets it, because there's no PvP on. People can't do anything to kick them off the package, so that's what that is. But yeah, whatever. I could get another rock. Yeah. So here we go. It's another irradiated area. These irradiated areas currently tend to have zombies. You can see one up here.
You're lucky I just saved your life.
Okay, so this guy's got leather boots is what that zombie had. So we're going to go ahead and take that, and we're going to check this area out. It's a little bit too much radiation for us to stay here for very long, but we might be able to check out this one house here. So we're going to go do that. Nothing in it. So we're going to have to get out because the radiation's ticking a little bit too high. You can get anti-radiation gear, like stuff that is just really resistant to radiation, like a hazmat suit, which doesn't provide as much protection against other things, but provides huge protection against radiation. But you can actually survive quite a bit. Like you can get 500 rads and be still fine. So just as long as you get in, check a house quickly, and then get out, it's actually pretty much fine. So we've got like a wolf chasing us. We're not gonna stop and shoot him. We got plenty of meat, so we're just gonna keep running. But yeah, you'll find stops like that periodically, and it'll have equipment. It'll have zombies that you can farm for new things, and hopefully I'll be able to find one that's less populated that I can sort of demonstrate that with. And yeah, in this particular style of play, it's more nomadic. It's a little bit more dynamic as well. You just sort of run around in circles around the map and see what you can find. And it's sort of like being a highway bandit, I guess, a little bit. But instead of plundering other players in this particular playstyle, you are mostly going to be plundering NPC buildings because it's safer. Attacking player characters can be fun, and if you're playing it, it's actually quite rewarding. But in all honesty, it's not very safe because they could be just as good as you. They could be just as well off. So, might not be in your best interest to actually do that. I'm going to put these boots on. Okay, there. Okay, these ones have a bit of radiation protection, 10, so that's fine. Anyway, let's continue on our journey along this road here. Because this is a no PvP server, this one does actually have slightly more buildings than there are in the other worlds, but it's not a huge amount more. Like, there just seems to be a lot of these terrible shacks lying around everywhere lately. You can see a guy in a hazmat suit up ahead. He's doing the same thing I'm doing, so he'll probably clear out everything because he's ahead of me in running. So once we get... Oh no, he's stopping there. Okay, so I can overpass him and continue on the road. But yeah, this is sort of the playstyle that you can have if you want a sort of less settled style, if you don't want to wait around in one of those valleys for rocks to spawn and pigs and other things, or if you've like gotten to that point where you've got the 9mm, you've got like a shotgun, and you've got plenty of ammunition and plenty of food and all that and other stuff, and you want to do something else. Like I highly recommend this playstyle once you're well established as well, because it gives you some way to increase the things that you can build and the things available to you, which sort of broadens the experience, and also you're going to probably get killed doing this, so there is that caveat that I have to give you. Like, there's probably going to be some jerk with a rifle standing around waiting for someone to come along the road and just pick them off because the people on the road are relatively easy targets. Fortunately, no PvP, so I'm perfectly safe right now. Yeah, let's see here. I feel as though they've actually decreased the frequency of NPC buildings slightly, but they were never too common to begin with. It takes quite a while to travel from NPC building set to NPC building set, but the rewards for it can be fairly substantial. I've had like the M16 from it. It didn't have any ammunition, but you know, it was the thought that counts, I guess. I've had like shotgun shells, I've had higher level shotgun blueprints and all that other stuff. I had actually a blueprint kit, and that's one of the interesting things. A blueprint kit basically is something that lets you take an item you already have and analyze it, and now you know how to make it, which the best way to use that, in my opinion, is for ammunition. So if you've got an exotic gun that uses a type of ammunition that you can't normally craft, you use that, you can now make the ammo. Like, you don't need to have blueprints to make the gun, you've already got the gun. So now you just want to have the blueprints to make the ammo so that you can never run out of ammo for that gun, so long as you've got the resources for it. So that's how you use those, in my opinion. There might be other ways, like if you're with a friend and he's got something that you don't have, you can also use them for that purpose, but you know, there aren't very many things like that that you're going to want to do that with. What the hell is this? This looks... I think this might be player made and it looks terrible. It's like a ramp that they were trying to ride off of. Okay, so the other players may have raided through this area, and I may be like too late in the day to actually get any more road exploration done, really, but there's always the hope that we can find a place that has a lot of zombies, and I can show you that. Let's take a cut until I can find some place that has a little bit of something, unless there's something just around this corner. I don't remember this map all that well. It is actually a set map across the servers, if I recall correctly. So it should be... I think there's supposed to be something around this corner. But if there isn't, we'll cut. Okay, damn. Okay, welcome back there, YouTube. As you can see, we found another sort of area that's going to be highly habited and has got a lot of things potentially, and it's got a zombie as well. A couple zombies at least, so looks like we're going to miss that shot. These guys are actually quite hard for me to hit quite often since they're pretty small frames, and I've got no aiming reticle, so I always aim a little bit sort of to the right or the left of them, but once you do get the bead on them, they're not too hard to hit. God damn. I'm so bad at this. Just pisses me off sometimes. Now the fast zombies are more fragile than these slow zombies, but the slow zombies obviously easier to kite, so let's search this guy's bag. Blueprint. Perfect. And let's get this other backpack before someone else goes and jacks it. And more leather boots. Like I said, you get a lot of leather boots. You get a lot of boots in general. So this is a 9mm pistol blueprint, which is a little bit funny, because I was pretty sure you start with the knowledge of how to make that. Game, thanks a lot. Thanks for trying. Damn it. Okay. Oh wow, that was lag. Okay, so things in this game. Okay. It's actually easiest to let them get quite close. Ouch. Why is this doing this? Sometimes this game. Am I out of arrows? I don't think I'm out of arrows. Guy hitting it from behind with an axe there. That's good. Okay, this one's got a granola bar, some tuna fish. And of course we're going to lose the other ones in the long grass, but that's okay, since it's sort of the showing of how to kill zombies with your bow that's more important. Obviously, again, I wasn't thinking about this, but let's see if this still works. Okay, there we go. Oops, this button. So grass on, false, that gets rid of all that annoying grass, and that lets us look for where we were killing zombies. Can't really remember all that well, but doesn't matter again. But I think someone actually may have taken the other ones. That's fair. Okay, so we finished off those guys. We got some stuff off of them, which is good. And this is where like you can survive off of this sort of lifestyle, so that you can actually get food. It's just that you need to stop every once in a while because you're going to need ammunition more than anything. Let's see here. There's another guy here. He's probably ransacked everything already. Yeah, it looks like everyone's sort of here all ransacking this town. Good times, so... Oh god. This lag is actually quite bad right now. See how brutal that is? That lag. It's just terrible. Okay, and all we got were a few bullets for our efforts here. Fortunately, the radiation here is not too high. It's not going up too fast. So we can probably handle exploring another building or two. Yeah, no. Upstairs are more likely to be left clean than downstairs. These wooden boxes typically have the least interesting things in them. Like flare metal is not that interesting. And typically it's the big green boxes that you want to look for that have the best stuff in them. So if you see a big green box, it's probably going to be better stuff than if you see like a little dinky crate like that. Let's see here. Yeah, nothing up there. And yeah, that's I think the entire little village here is sort of gutted quite quickly by all these adventurers. It would be extremely risky going in there if you were playing a normal game, because there are those people that go through there, and they're usually sort of heavily armored sort of people who are well equipped to being in those sort of situations. But yeah, that's sort of the lifestyle. That's sort of living as a sort of a road warrior. It's an alternative to play over the typical sort of survival through farming method, agriculture almost way. This is a very sort of different way of living, and it can be pretty interesting, can be pretty fun. So if you're playing Rust and you've gotten your 9mm, you've got all that other stuff, give this a try. Give this way of playing the game a bit of a go. Hunt down zombies and look for blueprints from them and blueprints from other stuff around the map and explore a little bit. Anyway, I hope you found this informative, and as always, I hope to see you all next time.